No, you can keep going. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Geeks and Company, part 2 of the pillar builds. This is part 2 of the pillar build. By the end of this video, I know I'm looking up there. Rob is doing some tweaks on some of our magnets and stuff. By the end of this episode, we I think should be done. What you're going to see at the end is the fully finished product. We're ready to go to Comic-Con. So that should be good. So between the first part and the second part, you'll have seen the whole build, minus a couple steps that we had to explain because we didn't film. Pretty excited for Comic-Con. It's less than 2 weeks away now. We're 11 days away from the first day of the show. 10 days away, really, if we consider that we're there or the day before setting up. We're getting there. Can't wait to see you guys at Comic-Con. Pillars are basically done. We're now sealing our foam. So we're just mixing some glue with some water, spreading it on every single panel, making sure the foam is sealed very nice so that our paint will not only stick, but won't get sucked in by the foam. This should be pretty quick, actually. We should have these done.
Yeah, this shouldn't take too much longer.
No, this should only take about an hour or so to get these done. I think the problem we're going to have is we're going to run out of space to put these before before we run out of time. And then next up is going to be applying the actual paint.
We are getting close.
We've got panels everywhere. Panels on top. There's panels on the bottom. I mean, we're running out of space to put panels. We've magnetized some back onto the structure themselves. So yeah. So unfortunately, this is where we got to stop it for now because this all has to dry. Although some of the earlier panels we did are already almost dry. So it's not taking as long as I thought it would. But it's going to take a couple hours for all of this to dry, which unfortunately we don't have today. So we're going to let it all dry. And then we'll be back on this either tomorrow evening or next weekend or whatever the case is. But when we do get back to this, we're going to be mixing up our paint and our sand, and then we're actually applying our base coat and texture. So this is when it's going to really, really, really start looking like stone. So this is where we're at so far. Get a bunch of stones done. Well, done. They're not done. This is the base coat. Some of these will need a second coat. It looks like the paint isn't sticking all that well to the 3D printed emblems, so we may have to give that a second coat just to make that look nice and even before we go in with our finishing passes. Well, I don't know how much of this step we actually filmed. We gave everything a black wash. In other words, what we're doing is we're diluting black paint. So we're using black paint and a bunch of water. And then we're basically staining everything is what we're doing. So we're putting a bunch of black paint all over everything. And then with a rag, we take some off. But, we don't take it all off, right? Like we leave some to dry. And then as it dries, it becomes more, kind of like that, actually. There you go. Now, this is the first pass of black wash. Then we're going to do some brown washes. And then we're going to do some dry brushing still. So there's still quite a bit to go. But this is really, really coming alive now. I mean, this is looking more realistic day by day. Dude, this is crazy. So, just quickly, let everybody know what you're doing right now.
I am doing some dry brushing and stippling of several green and blacks and washes and dry brushes to try to bring out that natural looking mossy growth look on the stone. There's a lot of layering and stippling and trying to get that look.
Now we've got moss as well. Thank you very much to Mr. Steve Jones, Groot in London.
Thank you very much, Steve.
He sent us a bunch of moss. Steve, you sent us way more than what we need. I think these are the 3 that we're going to use. Where exactly the moss is going to go, I don't know. I think we're going to play that by ear. Depending on how this comes out, The areas that will come out the darkest, I think, is the area where the moss is going to be growing. So we're going to decide that at the end. But we probably still have a good day of painting on Sunday still. But man, oh man. And I mean, look how tall these things are.
I'm 6 foot, so these are like 7 feet tall.
Well, they're more than that. They're close to 8 feet. I want to say your ceiling here is 8 foot tall, and they're almost touching. So they're good-sized pillars. Look at that. So we're now putting moss on this thing. I'm trying to make it look as natural as possible. It's hard to know what natural will really look like. We don't want to overdo it with the moss, just because, you know, if the moss doesn't look right, then it'll look stupid. But so far, I mean, it's adding this element of realism to have a little bit of actual life on these things, which is amazing. Dude, through the lens here, looking at these, they look real. They now look real. So the process of putting the moss on is actually fairly simple. We just use hot glue. Just put hot glue down wherever we want the moss. And then we're going to mash the moss on. You want the moss to look like it's thin, right? You don't want it to look like a bush because it's not supposed to be a bush, right? So just mash it on as best you can. And then we're going to basically rip off the remainder, right? So it doesn't matter how it goes on. As long as it's on and it's... Oh, is that hot, Rob?
It's very stringy once you're doing this.
I'm wondering if we maybe need thicker here, because this is all loose stuff, right? That's fallen off. All this is loose stuff, right? So... Whoa! Rob's breaking shit.
Uh-oh, and we're set back a day.
No, we're not. Luckily, this is a good time to show this, actually. Maybe we can show this. Want to turn this around? So I know you've seen us build them, but this is how modular this is. You know, when we get to the show, we've got our frame, and we're just going to literally snap our panels on. Ka-chow. Ka-chow. And last one. Oh, that one slid down there. Yeah. There you go. So, that's how they're going to go together at the show. So there you go, guys. We're going to finish mossing these up. I still need to do the bottom there and the bottom on the other side. And then we're going to reevaluate how much hot glue we have left to see how much more moss we want to put on. We've got plenty of moss. We haven't even gone through the first 3 bags, and I think Steve sent us like 12 or 15 bags or something crazy like that. So we're not going to need all that moss, but we're getting there. All right, so here we go. The pillars are done, and just in time, because Comic-Con is 10 days away.
10 days away.
So, you know, now we got to get to fixing, or I still need to fix my Predator armor.
Yeah, now we got to pivot to the Predators and get those in tip-top shape.
Yeah, we need to finish the Predators. As you've probably seen in our other build videos, I've completely redone the masks. Well, I didn't completely redo the masks. I fiberglassed the backs, fixed them, refinished them, repainted them. So now we need to get the lenses in, the electronics in, all that fancy jazz.
But the pillars are done, and we need a fancy new name for them.
Yeah, we need a new name for the pillars. So we're not quite sure what to call them. We want the name to be epic. They need to be the pillars of something.
Dumb.
You know? So let us know below what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed this build. Make sure you come and check us out at Toronto Comic Con, March 17th, 18th, and 19th in Toronto at the Toronto Metro Convention Center. We're going to be there all 3 days. Stay geeky, everybody. We'll see you next time.